Menopause isn't just about the actual symptoms. It can actually feel quite isolating because some people don't always understand. Okay. So, what I'm here to do today is to talk about menopause and starting over again, especially if you're over the age of 40 and what it can feel like. This is my strategy on how I cope with it all. So, the hidden struggle is that friends and family don't always understand. They may have never experienced going through the change. They might have been very lucky. There are some women out there are very, very lucky that don't actually experience any major changes as they get older in life. They sail through pretty well. They don't really have the flushes, they don't have the brain fog. They just feel the same. They don't really see or feel a difference. And that's amazing because that's what I would wish for everybody. However, for us women that are going through it, and boy, do we know we're going through it, right? So I think sometimes you can feel like quite invisible, especially if people don't understand. Now, I have more male friends than I do female friends. So they will never understand what it's like to have a period, let alone not have a period and go through the change, right? So I do have some friends that are female, don't get me wrong. But we're all in different stages and different ages. And I do also have friends that are a lot older as well. I just seem to relate to people older than me than younger. And also, I think it's about struggling to balance home and your own needs at the same time. So I find that with my experience that menopause can make you feel, like I say, isolated. And this is what got me thinking about starting, a freedom over 40 movement, really. I wanted to create this channel and a community of people because I think today, with life being so busy and so full on, sometimes we just don't have the time, right? We just don't have the time to do so many things that we would love to do. It just keeps getting put back on the back burner, as it were. Oh, I'll do that another time. I'll do that tomorrow. And tomorrow never really comes. And I think I just wanted to have something that we could connect to whenever we had the time to actually connect, i.e. be here now on this channel, watch this video when you're able to. And that's the beauty of YouTube, because these videos will be there for as many, many years long that YouTube is running. People can come back to this video 5, 10 plus years, in time. And that's amazing. I love that. So it's like a library of books, but instead it's all videos. And I just think, wow, what could I do that one day somebody who at the moment might be 30, but in 5, 10 years time, they may be going through a completely different change in their life with their hormones. And this might now appeal to them. And I hope you are watching, whoever you are. So that's what I love about it, right? So that's why I decided, right, I want to start something. I want to do something that's positive, something that I can feel proud of. And just the excitement of not knowing how or where this is going to go, but just to be able to relate to people, to reach out to people all over the world. And that's the other thing. I still get not starstruck, but I'm just still in awe, I think, of how amazing technology has gone in the fact that we can talk to people online, over like a FaceTime or a Zoom or live on here. And I'd love to be able to get to the stage on this channel that I can do lives. I really want to go live on here and engage and interact with people. That's one thing I do want to do. And I understand that you've got to get to so many subscribers or views or whatever the criteria is these days before I can do that. So that's fine. So that's fine. It'll come when it's meant to come. It'll happen when it's meant to happen. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to stress over it. But I think, again, I just want to have something that, like I say, is positive, and it's not necessarily always going to be specifically about menopause. It's all the things that we come across and deal with when we get to 40 plus. And don't get me wrong, I know there's women out there that are already going through the change before they get to 40. I was one of them. I was perimenopausal for 100% before I turned 40. It was just sadly, I was just brushed off all the time when I tried to talk about it with my GP. But hey ho, that was then and this is now. So I just think as well, we need to take a bit more credit for ourselves and just think, you know what? You're here, you're engaging, you're you're taking a bit of time out to watch something or listen to something as you might be busy with the kids, or you might have your headphones in, or earphones in, whatever, earbuds, whatever you want to call them these days. And you could be just doing, like, listening to this while you're doing the ironing or cooking food or whatever it is you're doing. But that's what I love about this as well. Yeah, it's so flexible, it's versatile. So I want you to take credit for yourself that you are here. You're busy doing life, busy with life. You're juggling a job, you're building a business, or you're going through health changes, or whatever it is you're doing. And for me as well, that I felt that I can't be the only one going through this. I know I'm not the only one going and thinking and feeling and going through this. And occasionally in work, I would stop and talk to a woman when I was making a cup of tea in the kitchen, for example. And, I would say something about menopause. And a lot of the women that are older than me would sort of look at me and think, what, you're going through it already? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm in my 40s, And I think this is not because I'm trying to go for compliments here or be big-headed, but a lot of people assume I'm younger, I look younger than what I am, which is great. It's a nice compliment, but the fact is I'm not. And secondly, yes, I am going through the change. I am on HRT. And when I start talking about it then with women, they then start opening up a bit, and they start thinking and talking about, their experience or what they take or what they do. Because I'm always open to suggestions and help and advice and tips on what they use or what they found help them cope with it, and whether or not they've gone through it now and they feel like they're on the other side and they feel better again. And that's amazing, because I think we need to talk about it more. We need to share these information, which is, again, why I create this channel. So what helps me mentally, physically, is about being here. It's about creating this channel. It's about being with a like-minded community of people. It's about being positive. I also have a channel on TikTok as well that I'd like to grow. Creating a purpose through this, and also growing my businesses as well, and seeing where that takes me. I just think it's all happy and positive. And, life isn't always happy and positive. I get it. Things that happen as well that we never planned for, we never saw coming. Massive curveballs can happen at any given time. And I think this is why it's so important to have something in place that people can come to when they're having a bad time or going through a hard time or whatever it is that life is going to life, right? But also about having self-care routines to help lift your mood. Again, which is why I created this, because me applying myself and creating these videos to you, I think it makes me feel more uplifted. I feel positive. I feel like I'm giving back. I'm doing something that I hope will help at least one person, if not many more. I really want to be able to do something that isn't just about benefiting me. It's about benefiting so many other people. Even if it's just about mental health as well in general. Mental health is such a massive, massive subject, and can vary in so many different ways and different avenues, paths even. And I welcome men here too, because mental health, doesn't just affect women, it affects men too. Men of a certain age really do dip as well in their moods. And, without going into too much detail today about that, I do understand that there is a high percentage of men when they get to a certain age in their late 30s, 40s, that sometimes their mental health can really take a dip. And so I want to open this out up to men as well. Or clearly they're not going to go through a menopause, but I do say there is a menopause, right? I say this to my other half because I think, like, he's 51, and he's not a negative person, don't get me wrong. He's actually quite an upbeat person. He keeps me sane. I'm very grateful and lucky to have him in my life, and to give me that balance, because not everyone has that. And I have gone through a bit of a rough time prior to meeting Matthew, my other half now. But men do suffer with mental health too. And I think, we need to be supporting each other and recognize that. Just because us women go through the menopause doesn't mean that men don't feel difference in themselves too. A dip in their testosterone levels, and health changes, and men can feel really down about having hair loss, for example, when men start to recede and lose their hair. And some men really do like to have their hair. They take pride in having hair, and it's I suppose it's their thing. It's the one thing they can take care of and, take pride in. If they do like to make an effort with their hair and have it styled a certain way or groomed a certain way. Same with beards and everything else that come with it. I mean, us women, right, we've got our own beard going on. When we find random hairs under here or on the chin, oh my gosh, I hate it. I absolutely hate finding hairs, and I can feel another one coming through now. I can feel it sprouting. So that one's going to go by the afternoon when I go back upstairs. I just want to know as well, ladies, what do you use when you find a hair prickling through? Some women I know say tweezers, but for me, I would find it difficult with a tweezer to actually try and pluck it out. I know you should, because you get more to the root and pulling the thing out. However, it's painful. I'm not good with pain. I don't have a great pain threshold. And I don't know, I find it frustrating because I'm up like this, I can't quite see what I'm doing. So you're trying to feel around and trying to get the angle of the tweezer. I think it would take me twice as long to try and pull the flipping hair out than, using a derma blade. So I use derma blades, which you can buy so cheaply online in packs these days. And for those that don't know what that is, it's just like a plastic handle, and it kind of looks like a scalpel. There's no way I can explain it, but you would see surgeons use kind of that. So it's a blade with a handle, and it's flat. It's a flat handle, and you can just, as if you were going to shave, as if a man was sort of going to shave, but you use the blade to cut the hair off. So yes, I get that, the hair would grow quicker because I'm not pulling it out from the root. But that's the quickest fix that I can find. I do also have a nasal hair trimmer. That's the other thing. How many more women on here find that their nasal hairs just randomly started growing? Like, what's all that about? I don't want this Amazon jungle coming from my nose. Thank you very much. So Matthew and I, we use a nasal hair trimmer. Sometimes I've actually used that to trim the hair off, get the hair out or off from under my neck and chin. And I actually use that to go over the shaping of my eyebrows. Now, I don't know about you, but I have lost a lot of hair. I mean, I've got a little bit left over of eyebrow pencil or whatever you want to call it here. But you can see they're quite faint on this side. It's probably rubbed off more from where I've slept on my pillow. But I don't actually have much eyebrow. And that's not because I've been plucking them and, doing the 80s, 90s thing. But I have actually lost hair on my eyebrows. I think probably that's where it's gone. It's gone from my eyebrows to my chin. I don't know. Or up my nose. I don't know. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know, random changes. I digress. However, so back here I am with this channel, with this video today. And I suppose I just want to try and lift up the mood a bit, like I laugh about these things, don't get me wrong. And I made some girls on team laugh, actually, who are in their very early 30s. And I remember I had to show somebody something on the computer the other day. Sorry. Tiredness, didn't sleep well last night. Yeah, and I had to lean over, and because of the angle of where her computer was, her laptop and everything was positioned, and I was conscious. I knew I had not one, two sprouting like dark hairs coming up my chin, and I thought, oh no, I've just found them. She's bound to see them. So I remember I helped her with her screen. I got something working, and then I sat down and I said, "You've probably clocked my hairy chin, by the way." And she looked at me and she said, "Oh my God, Ree, you're so funny." And I said, "Yeah, it's life. It's one of the things that happen when you get to my age and, with menopause." And she said, "Oh, you're so honest, Ree. I love it." And I said, "Well, it's blatant. It's there. You can see it. I know it's there. I've just felt the buggers there. And I said, "They be gone tonight." And she was just laughing. I said, "Oh, I hope you don't go through this, though." I said, "It's just a nightmare. I absolutely hate it." I don't know what I find worse. What do you find worse with the menopause? I know the memory side of things is really frustrating. Like the word association, you're mid-sentence and then you lose your train of thought, or you can't remember a word that was relatable to the conversation you're having or the item that you're talking about. But the hair, oh my gosh, I think that's definitely a close second, if not joint first for me. I know they're completely different, but my goodness, I really don't like having these random hairs. I really don't. I wish, if anything, they were fair, so you couldn't see them so bad in the light, because I am fair skinned. I was born blonde. I know this is peroxide now, and the rest is just streaks of grey and whatever else combined, but I was born blonde. So I really would love to have, if I'm going to have hair sprouting underneath, at least be like almost invisible, please, so it's not so obvious, so that when I do feel under my chin every day, that I can just quickly get rid of it and no one's going to really notice. But yeah, unfortunately, they're quite dark, so hey ho. So today is, as I say, it's all about my experience creating this movement of people for hormones and menopause and mental health, and just trying to have a bit of a laugh and a giggle with it, really, and a positive spin. But ultimately, what I want to say to you is, you're not alone, okay? You are here in a safe space. I want you to be here. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for supporting me in this channel. And it doesn't mean that just because you're going through the menopause that you're invisible, because you're not. You're here for a reason. And I just want you to just reflect on that and think, right, well, what can I do now? I'm of this stage in my life. I'm of this age in my life. I have this life experience. I have my work experience, whatever it is that you've done in life. And then what can you use that for? What can you apply that for? What can you put that into use positively? What can you do that's going to make you feel good? If it means just going outside for half an hour and having, if you can, and just having time out, listen to the birds singing in the trees. If you're lucky to be in a place where you can go for a walk, in the countryside, in the forest, whatever, that's safe for you. If you're able to get outside, then go for it. Don't think you've just got to do everything all the time by yourself. Just because you're the mum of the house or whatever, you matter and you need to have that time out. That's the most important thing, I'd say. There are days, honestly, at home, I really do not have any energy, motivation to even think about putting my dry wash in my clothes away. I will leave them hanging up. And I know it's lazy, but I am exhausted. I really do feel exhausted. So sometimes it's just about recognizing that, you know what, hang on a minute, I need a bit of time out now. I need to be kind to myself. And I think that's what I want people to be, is kind to themselves overall. Life is just going to life anyway. Is someone going to die because I have not put my washing away that's dried? No. Does my house look untidy? Yes, it does. Do I care really? No, not really, because no one's coming over. No, it's not hurting anyone. Yes, it's annoying me because I can see it, but ultimately sitting down for half an hour to myself, reflecting on how I feel, what the week I've had, and so on, is far better and more important to me, I think, now. Before I then decide to get up and do something. If I do, now it's going to be about making a cup of tea, because I enjoy a cup of tea. So that's my kindness to myself, doing something I love and enjoy, and that's with a cup of tea. Something simple, but something I really appreciate and I'm grateful for. So until tomorrow, guys, have a wonderful day. I hope the sun is shining where you are, or you have a peaceful evening if it's the night time when you're watching this. And please comment, tell me what you do, what are you up to with your situation in life, where are you in the world? I would love to know. It's such a great online, it's such a great opportunity these days that you can engage with people and just connect. And I think that's amazing, just connecting with like-minded people that are going through similar things. So guys, thank you for being here. Have a great day and stay blessed. Speak to you soon.